Hello, this is Brian Houle. I'm a solutions consultant with Beyond 20, and today I want to look at workflows in Cherwell Service Management. That's a big topic. There are a lot of ways to do workflows in Cherwell, and what I want to do is look at a way to do them running entirely out of one-steps rather than automation processes. I don't know that there are pros and cons to each. If we're running it from a one-step, then what we're getting there is sort of immediate results. Automation processes, we have to wait for the processing server to proc and on the trigger and then generate the action. And that works well, and we do quite a bit of that. But I've been playing around with doing perhaps more simpler workflows based on a one-step that we store in the incident subcategory table, so that when the ticket is categorized and we enter the in progress status, what it'll do is it'll kick off the action that's stored in the category table. And we'll get immediate results. And we also won't run into the problem where if we change the names of our categories, then we're not necessarily going to break our workflow like we can if we're triggering off of the name of the incident subcategory that we chose. So let's get to it. So the process I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a blueprint. Now I've already done this work, so I'm going to show you what I've done. So I'm going to trigger this via an incident action. And so what I'm going to do is edit actions. Now I'm going to make use of a state change action. And this means that if I have a lifecycle defined on my business object, and incidents do, when I go into in progress state, it's going to execute this action. So this action really is just more or less a wrapper for another one step that I'm going to run. So I don't have to put all of my one step actions in here directly. I just put in this one, and this one calls the appropriate action. Now, so let's take a look at this one first. So I'm going to click my ellipses. I'm going to go in, and I'm storing everything for this workflow in the global scope because I want to be able to edit this on the fly without having to publish a blueprint. So I can certainly do that. So I'm going to click Edit, and I'm going to go into my one-step manager. Let's make this a little bigger. And I'm going to do a couple of things here. So I'm going to first execute my action if it exists. So I have to have a condition on here. What I'm looking for is the fact that our incident subcategory action command is not empty. And I'm actually looking at the incident subcategory table down a relationship off of incident. So we'll talk about that in a second. Just note that I'm not really auto-populating into anything in the incident. I'm looking right down the relationship to grab that. All right, so that's my condition. I have to have a command in there for it to run. And then what I'm going to do is look at my global scope, and then I'm going to look at incident subcategory command, and I'm going to pull the action command name. So the action command name is really a one-step name that I'm going to execute. So really, I don't need to know the name of the one-step or where that, I do need to know where it is. I don't need to know the name of it or what it is, but here it is. I can run this based off of the value in this field, and that's very, very powerful and very convenient. So the next thing I want to do, though, is just for safety, I want to indicate that I've actually ran that one step. So what I'm going to do here is update a field. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say catalog action complete, set value to true. So you have to create this field on incident. It's a logical field. I default it to false because I'm like that. Always like to have defaults in there. And so all I'm doing is setting it to true when this runs. So I'm running my one step, setting this flag, because again, if you remember, and I'm just going to go back in here, click OK, that I am running this only if my catalog action complete is not equal to true. So I'm going to flip that flag so it won't run again. Now, you know, it may not run in progress again, but if it comes out of in progress, goes back into it, say on a pending, I don't want it to fire again. Now I have a little redundancy here because I've got, I'm looking for my action command not empty. So I've got that in here and in the one step. It's a little redundant, I know, but you only really need it in one place, but I've got it in both. And that is it. And the only other thing is I'm executing it before saving the record, and I'm going to click OK. All right, so there is that piece. Now, the second thing I need to do here is go back into my incident object. So again, like you saw before, I've added this action catalog action complete flag so that I could flag it. But one gotcha here is on the subcategory ID. Now we're making use of the relationship incident link subcategory, and so I have to be sure that the subcategory ID is set. Now, if I'm in a ticket, let me show you this real quick. If I'm in a ticket and I'm using the quick classify piece here, and that's down here. So if I'm scrolling down, you'll notice I can go into quick classify and I can do something like print and tab, and I'll get my printing come up here, and it'll automatically fill this out based on this search. And if I go into my help and system analyzer, and let's take a look under the hood of what's there, you'll notice that if I scroll down again and I go into my, let's see, I believe it's in system, you'll notice that subcategory ID is populated along with subcategory. That is pushed to the ticket based on that relationship, okay? I'm making sure that this category exists when I set the incident subcategory field, because for the quick classify, that will trigger that relationship, but just setting these manually will not. So out of the box, this does not auto-populate off of subcategory, so I need to make sure that that happens, whether a technician is using the quick classify or they're manually setting the fields on the ticket. I always want to make sure that this relationship is created, because that's the magic. So I'll set the rec ID into incident subcategory based on my change of subcategory. So that's important. You have to auto-populate incident subcategory ID. All right, so there's that. So once I'm going to publish this and go on, my next step is to go into the blue pill, the client, go to Tools and Table Management, and I'm going to look for Incident Subcategory Table. And what I'm going to do here is find the category that I want. And so I'll go to Account Management, I will go to Network Access, and I'm going to work on the new account entry here. So what I'm going to do is the service catalog action to run comes out of the box, and it's already there. So you can click Choose, and I'm going to go into One Steps. I'm going to change my association to incident, and then I want to do something very basic. I'm going to show a pop-up. So that's all this one step does. So I'm going to save it, and so we'll talk about this in a minute. So the service catalog action to run is actually the one step that is triggered in the portal when this is called, and so we're kind of hijacking it a little bit. And if we want it to work in both places, we have to do a little different tweak, but I'll show that in the next video. Right now, we're just going to worry about running this out of the smart client or the web client. So we'll click Show Pop-up. I'm going to save that. So what this is going to allow me to do, if I go back in and I'm going to abandon this ticket, I'm going to start a new one. And I'm just going to, this is a demo database, so I'm going to Tracy Alvin. And I'll put in a request. We'll call this new account. This is a new account. We'll do priority. However, once I change this, it's going to change for me. So remember, we did account management, my priority cleared, network access, and new account. So I'm going to go ahead and make that 3. And here we go. So nothing unusual. Let me close this. There we go. So remember, we're running this off of a state change action. So I'm going to change this user. I'm going to select Josh Wilson. He's going to be my owner. I'm saving the ticket. So everything's populated. It's saved. Now we're at assigned. Now if I click begin work, there, I get my pop-up, and it just says this was called from the service catalog. So I can click closed, and there we have it. So we've run that action based on the value that the one step that we've named in this database record. So we're actually looking to the record rather than the actual value in subcategory or service to run the one step. So if we decide to change this subcategory to new employee or new access account or something like that, it won't break our workflow because we're calling it directly from the service catalog. And now you can do all kinds of things with this. So if we go back in and I'm going to open this up, I'm going to click choose again. This time I'm going to go to service request models. I'm going to choose new employee tasks with dependencies. This is an out-of-the-box one step that you can use and model after stuff you need to do. I'm going to click OK. You'll see that updates. I'm going to click Save. Now, if I go back to my other window, and I'm going to do a new ticket, and I'll choose, let's see, Henri. We'll go next, and we'll say new account again. This, I can type today, this is a new account. We're going to go ahead and make our account management, network access, new account, and I'm going to make that a priority too. Now I'm going to save this. Boom. And I'm going to select my owner. And, well, Andre's going to own his own ticket. It's probably not ethical. But now, watch us. We're going to create a bunch of tasks. So I'm going to kind of just cheat here a little bit and open this so that we can see. Spread this out a little. All right, so now when I click Begin Work, all my tasks generate because I'm running it from that one step. Now, I can do this with any one step in any service catalog entry. All I need to do is set up my data table that way. And then I have one action on incident actions that will trigger any of that one step. And welcome back to the second part of this video. In the first part, we looked at how to create some simple actions based on the incident category or subcategory that we select on a ticket. And so rather than relying on an automation process, this just fires off immediately. And you see what we did was we created some tasks when the new account ticket moved to in progress status. And we did that through an action. So the second part, I'm going to deal with how do we make this work for both the smart client and the portal. So let's look at that. So one thing we need to do, you remember we went into the in the first part, we're in the default view. We went into incident and we auto-populated incident subcategory from subcategory. And we have to do the same thing in the portal default view in the incident object. And again, we're going to go back into subcategory, find subcategory rec ID, or subcategory ID rather. You'll notice that it will not be auto-filled by default. You have to set that to autofill when subcategory changes. That's key. So I made another change. Since we're going to be using this in the portal, if I'm going to go to table management and find my new account, I've changed the name of my service catalog action because in the action will appear beneath the link for the subcategory. So I've just changed the name from show pop-up to submit request for new account, and it's the same one. So when we run it through the portal, we've got our conditionals. So if it's in the portal, it'll create a new business object. If it's not in the portal, it'll show a pop-up. So again, in the portal, it'll run this one. And then Smart Client, when we run this one step again, it'll run this one. So that's important to note. So let's take a look at our portal. So this is the out-of-box portal. I've logged in. And as Henri Bryce, I'm going to go to Service Catalog. Now what I can do is, look, there it is. New account. I've got the name of my action beneath it. So I made that a little user-friendly. I'm going to click New Account. And here it does. It creates a new record, pops it up for me. So it ran the Create New Business Object step, not the pop-up step, which is what I want. So now I need, please create a new account. This could have specifics information, what have you. I'm going to head and add it to the cart. And then I've got a couple here that I've been working on. And you'll see I can then go ahead and submit the order. And it tells me the order's been submitted. I'll click OK. Now let's go back into our smart client and let's take a look at what we've got. So I'm going to look at the very last one, which is the one I made. I'm going to click into it. So there I have it. I've made a new account. Submit new account from portal. Let's take a look. Let's reload that guy. Now what happens? I'm going to give it an owner. Let's say it's Sawyer this time. We'll save it. It's moved to assigned. So now when I click begin work, it shows my pop-up. So you'll see that when I ran it from the portal, and the portal calls that one step directly, it created the record, which is what I want. It allowed me to fill it out, submit it to my cart, and then submit the order. When I came back into the service request and looked at it in the smart client, I was then able to run that same one step under different conditions. And this time it showed the pop-up, but of course did not create a new ticket because I've already got that. So there you have it. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more Cherwell videos. Thank you.